to another Friday assessment. Yes, this is the day that you get to assess. This is the day that you said, I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday. I'm going to be better than I was last week, last month, last year. Today is your day of change. You said, today is the day that I'm going to assess that my life will never be the same. You have to decree and declare that. You have to do it. Nobody else can do it for you. Yes, all the king's men. Today is the day that you make a decision that said, change is happening in my life. And that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about change. We want to talk about pressing. We want to talk about not doing the things the same old way that we did it. You know, there's a business term. There's some acronyms that is WADITW, and many of you may be familiar with that terms. It's that we always did it that way. When you hear somebody say that, run. When you hear somebody in business say that, especially run. Why? Because they're refusing the need to change. They're refusing the need even the world evolves, even the way God designed the earth. There, you go through seasons. You have it where when you look at nature, in one season, things are brown. One season, things look like they're dead, they're dormant, but there's something going on. And then you have this, what they call springtime, when things come forth and bud. I thought about this because, look, think about it. Every year, there are different things that happen, especially in the South. You got different kinds of bugs. The grass may come back green in this area, brown in this area. You got a different bug this season that's running rampant in the land. And why? That's because things are changing. So even God changes things, but we as man think that, oh, I'm going to keep things the same. But you have to, I'm going to have to say the word, you have to keep it fresh. So therefore, you have to not resist change. And that's what the Friday assessment is all about. You look at the areas that you're having success in, and the area that you're not having success in. Is the area that you're not having success in because you're refusing to change? Because you said, I always did it that way? That is something to think about. If you ever say that we always did it that way, say, whoa, I'm looking to be non-existent in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years. I'm looking to say that whenever you say that, said that I don't want to be relevant. Because when you say that we always did it that way, that means that you're saying that you're resisting change, you're resisting the need to change, and that everybody else around you is going to change. No. Rather you realize it or not, the word is going to go forward, whether you go with it or not. You have many companies today that said that, no, former companies. I'm not going to say companies today because they're not even in existence. You have companies that were great, say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that said those very words. We always did it that way. Even though they saw change happening before their eyes, they refused it. I believe when in our world today, we're in the midst. We've been in the midst, and we're in the midst of some very critical changes in our world and in our society. And we have an opportunity to embrace it and use it for the positive, because we're in a time where biblically men are becoming lovers of themselves. They're being self-fulfilling. So why am I saying that? It's because even though things are being created for the positive, man is using this thing so that I can get more power. I can take more advantage of people. I can manipulate people. Even though these things are used to help society, to move society forward, it's to benefit society. You have those that will take this thing and they will manipulate it. They'll turn it to self-use. So we have to not resist the things. Yes, the enemy is going to take things and twist them. Yes, it's going to look like that this is nothing but the enemy. But we have to realize, how can we use these things to build the kingdom? How can we use these things to build one another? We have to think about that. How can I be better? Don't refuse change. How can you embrace it and use it to become a better person? How can you embrace it and become what God has said you are to become? How can you embrace it and say, this is part of my journey to destiny? Remember, the areas that you're not having success in is not that you don't have the talent, that you don't have the giftings and the callings, but is what are you resisting today? What are you resisting in your life today? Because you got to remember, you could be doing something because somebody else had done it. Because that's the way mama and daddy and grandpa did it. But I need you to press into something different. And it says you need to press into your destiny, press into your calling, who God has called you to be, what God has called you to. If that's the business that God has called you to, if that's the area of life of this world, that corner that God has called you, quit trying to do what everybody else is doing. Quit trying to do, abandon your past. Of not abandoning your past have caused many to falter, many to fall, many to be in non-existence. That's what I'm talking about. We always did it that way. You have to abandon the past. Look at Nokia, look at Kodak. They are not here today because they did not abandon the past. They said we always did it that way and we ain't changing. Well, I'm here to let you know, if you're going to continue to go around the mountain, keep jumping on the merry-go-round and jump back off at the same place you was. We always did it that way. Well, we always did it that way. It's going to get you jumping off at the same place, jumping back on the same place. And when you jump off again, you're going to jump off in the same place again. And you're going to continue to skin your knees, skin your head until you get up and learn your lesson that, look, I got to change. Change is inevitable. We have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. What do I mean by comfortable being uncomfortable? Because you have, that means that you got to accept that change is natural. Change is inevitable, meaning that change is going to happen whether you accept it or not. That's why we have to accept the fact of that. We always did it that way. It's not the future. Yes, you doing it that way for a season, but you got to recognize the season. Say, God, open my eyes for the seasons when they change. When the seasons change, right now we are in fall and we're looking for cooler weather. We see the leaves changing, we see the leaves falling, we see the grass turning. That lets you know that the seasons are changing. What are the elements in your life that let you know that seasons are changing? That spoke volume even to me. In this Friday assessment, assess what is changing in my life that I am neglecting today. All the King's men, I thank you for joining in today. My prayer that something said today have changed your life for forever. That you do this self-assessment and said, I'm not going to do the things the same way I always did it. I am going to accept change and move forward in my life. Drop a like, tag, share, drop me a line below. Let me know what's going on in your life. I will reach back out to you if you want to connect. My prayer today is that you have a blessed day, blessed weekend, and a blessed week to come. Until next time, be blessed.